You pay your taxes online. You apply for a business permit. You cross a border. On the surface, it seems simple enough. But what if the decision about your money, your property, and even your freedom isn't being made by a person, but by an intelligence that's learning and operating completely behind the scenes? This isn't some far-off sci-fi story. It's happening right now. A quiet revolution is underway, embedding artificial intelligence deep into our government and legal systems. We're about to show you how these silent algorithms are making huge decisions that affect your life, whether you realize it or not. When we hear AI, most of us think of something out of a movie. But the real AI that's taking root in our society is a lot more subtle. It's basically a complex web of code and machine learning models, built to crush massive amounts of data and then make a decision or a prediction. And governments, who are drowning in data, are jumping on this technology. Federal agencies are already using AI in thousands of different ways. Take the systems that process Social Security or welfare claims. AI can scan applications and cross-reference info to flag potential fraud, a job that would be basically impossible for humans to do on that scale. Or think about public health, where AI models can track a disease outbreak in real time, helping officials get ahead of the curve and stop a pandemic from spreading. These systems are all designed to make government faster, smarter, and more responsive. But as these systems get more and more powerful, it makes you wonder, who's really calling the shots? Let's pull back the curtain on where this tech is already working. In the world of politics and policy, AI is becoming a go-to advisor. It can look at huge data sets to predict how a new law might play out, help officials figure out how to spend massive government budgets, and even get a sense of public opinion by scanning social media. And next time you contact a government agency, there's a good chance you'll be talking to an AI chatbot. It's programmed to handle all the simple routine questions, which frees up the human staff to deal with more complicated problems. The big idea is to streamline pretty much everything, from applying for a grant to renewing your driver's license, making government more efficient. Governments all over the world, including in the US, are pouring billions into speeding up this change. They see AI as critical for everything from the economy to national security. But this rush to automate comes with a hidden cost, one that gets a lot clearer when you see how AI is being used to enforce the law. In cities all over the country, AI is changing the way police work. One of the most common and controversial uses is something called predictive policing. This is where algorithms chew on historical crime data to identify hotspots and guess where and when future crimes might happen. Police then use these maps to decide where to send their officers, and it goes way beyond just prediction. AI is the engine behind all kinds of new surveillance tools. You've got facial recognition tech scanning crowds to find suspects, license plate readers tracking cars, and smart cameras that can supposedly flag suspicious behavior all on their own. In one pretty amazing example in New Delhi, police used facial recognition to scan photos of 45,000 children, and in just 4 days identify nearly 3,000 of them as missing. The tech is even making its way into the police station. AI can now whip up the first draft of a police report just by listening to an officer's story and analyzing their body cam footage. It can sift through thousands of hours of video to find one specific face or object, a job that would be a nightmare for a human detective. It all sounds like it could make investigations quicker and more effective. But as law enforcement gets more hooked on these tools, we're having to face some pretty uncomfortable truths. These tools are powerful, but they're not perfect. So what do you think? Is it a good idea for police to use algorithms to predict crime, even if the data they're learning from might be flawed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We actually read them. This is where that invisible revolution starts to get a little dangerous. A lot of these AI systems are what you'd call black boxes. That means even the people who made them can't fully explain how they reached a specific conclusion. That lack of transparency is a huge problem in a democracy. If a government algorithm denies your benefits or flags you as a risk, you should have the right to know why. With a black box system, there might not be a clear answer. But the even bigger problem is bias, and AI is only as smart as the data you feed it. And if that data reflects our own historical biases, the AI will learn them, and even worse, amplify them. For example, we know that in the criminal justice system, historical data often shows that minority communities are policed and arrested more often. So when an AI is trained on that data, it learns to connect those communities with a higher risk of crime. The result, the predictive policing algorithm sends more cops into those same neighborhoods, which leads to more arrests and just reinforces the original bias. It becomes a vicious cycle, and this isn't just a theory. There are documented cases of people being wrongfully arrested because of a bad facial recognition match, and a striking number of them have been black. The technology is often not as good as telling the difference between people with darker skin tones, which leads to more mistakes. We're starting to hand over huge decisions about people's lives and liberty to systems that can copy and even deepen our worst inequalities, all while pretending to be neutral technology. The good news is people are starting to wake up to these dangers. The conversation isn't really about if we should use AI anymore, but how we can do it without messing things up. Lawmakers and civil rights groups are calling for big changes. In 2024 alone, U.S. state lawmakers introduced hundreds of AI-related bills. Laws are being passed to do things like outlaw malicious deep fakes and force government agencies to be open about how they're using these automated systems. Some states now demand that government AI tools be independently audited to check for bias and make sure they're fair. New York, for example, now requires its state agencies to publish detailed info about the automated tools they use for decision-making. On a global scale, the European Union passed the AI Act, which is the world's first major legal framework for artificial intelligence. It outright bans systems considered an unacceptable risk, like government social scoring. The solution isn't to just ditch the technology. The potential for good here is massive. AI can really help make our government work better and our justice system more accurate. But it has to be done right. That means we have to demand transparency, not black boxes. It means we need independent audits and clear rules about what kind of data is fair to use. And most importantly, it means giving communities a real say in how these powerful tools are used to govern them. We need constant human oversight to make sure we don't trade our basic values for a little more efficiency. The silent takeover of our government and laws by artificial intelligence is already here. These systems aren't just tools anymore. They're becoming decision makers, and they're shaping our lives in some really deep ways. They have a say in who gets help and who gets flagged as a threat, where money and resources go, and where police are sent to patrol. The promise of a super efficient, data-driven world is incredibly tempting, but as we've seen, that promise comes with huge risks to our privacy, our rights, and what we even mean by fairness. This revolution is happening quietly, but its impact will be loud, and it will last for a long, long time. It's on all of us as citizens and residents to demand that this new world of algorithmic government is built on accountability, transparency, and justice. The future isn't set in stone, and the real question is no longer what AI can do, but what will allow it to do. If you want to stay in the loop on how tech is reshaping our world, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Thanks for watching.